Hello everyone and welcome to the Pitskill.io Porsche Cup and BMW M2 Multiclass, sponsored by SimQuips. We are here for round 2 of the new season and we are here at Misano as our Porsche Cup cars take to the circuit to get this qualifying session underway. First car on track is, appropriately enough, our championship leader in the Porsche Cups, Joe Wilson in the number 5 car. As we head into the second sector and the deceptively tight right-hander of, I believe, turn 5 at the circuit. Using all the track on the exit. And heading down into the hairpin, slight kink on entry. Get the braking zone all lined up. Exceptionally tight apex here, and then a very long straight in inverted commas. A couple of kinks, but nothing that can't be handled completely flat out. Through the first of the kinks, missing the apex to maximise the run into the the more important corner coming up, and then into the hairpin, making a whole heap of apex curb. The final few corners, not quite flat in the Cup cars. You hear a slight lift there from Joe, a little bit of a brake down, using the camber of the corner and flat to the line, and we'll have our first time on the board for our qualifying session. It's a 1:36.952 for Joe Wilson. Shot followed very swiftly behind by Matthew Parry, who took P3 in our round out at Suzuka, currently sitting in P2 in the qualifying order, with Johan Leff, our second place driver from the last round, in P3 at the moment. So, competitive order established. See how these drivers can get on. So I have some 1.6 seconds down at the moment, but I'm sure with time to find, Florent de Moore sitting in P4 with John Sawyer sitting on a 1:38.9, but improving on this lap. Balazs Fahit in a brand new livery, I think, pink with a unicorn on it. Balazs Fahit does not disappoint with his livery choices. He's sitting in P7, a 1:39.0, as Kenny Crows slots himself into P4, a 1:37.985. Down in P8 we've got Slavik Klinger, number 666 car with that flame-fronted livery. He's some 2.3 seconds off the pace at the moment, but still plenty of time left in this qualifying session. And P9 is Felinas Nitro, running the familiar Ubuntu livery. And did I see someone else running that same livery? No, must be mistaken. No one would steal Nitro's famous livery. In P10 we have Jordi Navarro in the number 113 car. And jumping into P8 is Maya van Dijk running the BWT livery. And in P4 now, just jumping up, is Jens Nilsson. And in P13 we've got Martin Kuish, who has modified the livery they ran last race. Obviously not quite so happy with the word that was previously on the side of that car. Oh, and a hell of a slide through turn 4 there for Martin, and moving well out of the way. In P18 we've got another a top trap liveried car, this one of Jordi Cano, only sitting on a 1:39.9. As we return our attention back to the top of the standings, Joe Wilson still top, has invalidated this lap, so he's just going around his final 2 corners, get this lap out of the way and on to a new one. Behind we have got Johan Leff threatening top of the timing. He will cross the line to take provisional pole, but it's going to be short-lived as Matthew Parry crosses the line with a 1:36.555. just over a tenth clear of Johan Leff as he returns to the pit lane. Johan Leff continuing on. Will have an opportunity to reply. Will be one more lap available to Matthew Parry if he gets out right now. As we look down our order, we have Balazs Fahir now up in P4, finding some pace. Still a few more minutes remaining of this session to find even more. With Villeneuve Nitro just crossing the line, jumping their way up into the top 10. There's Yannick Haas. Currently sitting on a... Well, I was going to read that time as they jump up the standings into P9 138.0. Haas, solid time. As in P14 we have Tristan Goertz and Jano Brzeznik in P15. Marek Schittel returns. He's currently sitting in P17. Dan Gunderson running down in P18. As Joe Wilson jumps back up to the top of the standings. And Johan Leff can't catch a break, still in P2. Well, actually, now been dropped to P3 by this man here, Balazs Fahir. The Unicorn charging its way up the timing tower. 1:36.427 now for Wilson. Fahir not far behind that. With a new contender in the top 3. We'll continue to run our way through the Porsche Cups we have on the track. We have Tom Amella currently running down in P19 on a 1:39.347. Ewan Topley in the Mr. Mr. Blobby livery. In P22, jumping up to P21. But as we come into the final moments of this Porsche Cup qualifying, we turn our attention back to the front of the field. Joe Wilson doesn't seem to be doing enough on this lap. Sliding it through top of the circuit, trying to find all the time he can. And through final few corners now is going to have to find an absolute armful of time. He wants to improve that lap, but the cars behind him also not improving. Leff only needed to find a little bit of time to jump ahead of Fahir, but couldn't find it in the end. Ultimately finishes on a 1:56.5. Our top 3 in the Porsche Cup class will be, with also barring any late surprises, will be Joe Wilson, Balazs Fahir and Johan Leff. And I think, unfortunately, actually, some of those drivers who... Actually, Joe Wilson, I think, got ahead of the TCXs as he came through. Because of the nature of the pit exit here at Misano means someone leaving the pit at the 10-minute mark can actually get out in front of someone who crosses the start-finish line before the 10-minute mark. As T Lightbot leads our way out onto the formation lap, and we can take this as a quick opportunity to run through our standings for the series. In the Porsche Cups is, as I said, Joe Wilson leading the way on 110 points, followed by Johan Leff, Matthew Parry, Jens Nielsen, John Sawyer, Juhis Latz, Slavik Klinger, Hayden Fury, Maya van Dijk and Jakub Borovic rounding out the top 10 with a 2,100 strength of field here at pitskill.io. It's a solid grouping there in the Porsche Cups. And in the TCXs, it is led by Andre Thierry on 110 points. By Callum Scotland, Oscar Yaram, Magnus Mortensen, Max Davies, Roland Schricker, Marco Lorenzon, Jules Flint, Jordi Audet and Gert Andre Holstead. And we will go on board. Oh, I would say with Lightbot, but I think there's a couple of cars who have jumped in front of him, so let's bring back up our display and see who that is. We want a nice, clear, unobstructed view of the track as we go on our first flyer with TCXs, and that will be Magnus Mortensen. And you can already see how much speed these cars have to scrub off these corners considerably faster in the Cup cars. And lots of quite long straights here at Misano, especially this back sector, so plenty of opportunities for the classes to sort themselves out. Only really the fiddly last section of the track and, well, the first sector. Yeah, okay, it's a fiddly track to overtake, but plenty of straights there for the Cups and the T6s to sort themselves out as Mortensen brings it through into the right-handed kink. A considerable bit of braking there. Get the car slowed down. Taking all of the apex curb there. And apologies, I already missed a couple of cars who came out very early on actually, as Oscar Yaram and Andre Thierry already set their flying lap times. So currently on provisional pole position in the TCX class is Oscar Yaram. Yeah, currently sitting P3 on 92 points, with Thierry, our TCX Championship leader at the moment. Might want to create a little bit of space for himself, as he does seem to be catching up to Yaram, although maybe this is a tactic to just get that little bit of extra suck down the long kinking straight. I do feel slightly uncomfortable about using the word suck and kinking in the same sentence there, but we'll gloss over that. There's also running tonight in P27. P4 in class at the moment is Max Davies. And we have got, actually Max Davies currently P5 in the championship. In P5 on the timing tower at the moment is Anthony Victor Chappelle. Chappelle got into a few unfortunate incidents in the last race. Only finished P13, so they've got a little bit of work to do to save their championship. In P29 is David Botello. Only on a 1:49.73, so that's some 2 seconds off of our class pole sitters pace. In P30 in the, I believe this is the Splatoon liveried car. It does look like it at the distance. It is indeed, and it is at a Kalaskan. P31 is Marco Lorenzon, who takes a little bit of an off-track excursion there. Only P7 in the championship, but that will invalidate their lap. They have to go again, try and find a bit more pace. Alex Perry this week running the Shrek livery. I'm not sure if that is beautiful or hideous. Jury's out. We'll decide after the race. Either way, he finds himself down in P36. And currently sitting at P18 in the championship. As more and more drivers are setting their times. Jordi Audette. About 1.5 seconds off of our class pole sitters pace. 1:49.365. As Yaram coming around final few corners now, will be looking to improve on their already quite dominant looking time. Giving it pinned to the line now. being followed closely behind by Thierry. Improves their time, 1:47.3. Thierry also improving, still 4/10 adrift as they head on to what will be their penultimate lap of the session. As in P32, we have got, I believe, newcomer to the series, Lennon Bromfield. Improving in time. Should see them jump up a number of positions with this lap, as they do jump up to P5 in class. A good improvement and some real close times there. Going from Audette, P28, all the way down to even Botello in P35, separated by just 4/10 of a second. So plenty out there for those who can find the time. As Giovanni Michelini is in P34 overall. And that silver, almost production car looking livery there, apart from the splashes of red. Still, things as they were up at the front, apart from the insertion of Jules Flint. P3 in class at the moment. Still over a second adrift of divisional pole sitter Oscar Yaram, and Thierry really showing their class in this class. And Yaram especially just needs to be lucky in the races, and we could see some real fights in this championship. And well, don't hold me to it because there's a long championship ahead of us, but yeah, hoping for some close battles and a close fought championship. In P32, we've got Carlos Jimenez. Only on a 1:49.5, and yeah, well in that competitive bunch we can see from P4 in class downwards. We are into the final 40 seconds of the session. Looking at the timers, at least this time we can say that all of the Porsche Cups have set themselves a lap time, so we will at this time at least have the classes nicely separated on grids and shouldn't have too many incidents off the start. As Marco Lorenzon slots himself up into P3. Seen solid improvements from this driver season on season, now making the shift over into TCX class and finding their pace. As the checkered flag is out, a few drivers already seen the checkered flag. Botello 33 at best for him. The number of drivers now finishing off their laps. Oscar Yaram, don't think it's going to be an improvement. 1:47.3 is our benchmark time. Thierry going to be crossing the line shortly behind, will not improve on their time or their position. That does give class pole position to Oscar Yaram, unless someone can throw down a real good lap at the end of this session. Anthony Victor Chappelle still running the Jules Flint livery. It is very confusing, especially as Jules Flint isn't running that livery. As I look down to see who can improve their position as Flint crosses the line. I think the one we do need to look out for actually is Jules Flint does not improve their time. Anthony Victor Chappelle runs wide of the track limits and immediately aborts the lap. That is a real shame there, with the closeness of those cars ahead. Could easily have found themselves 3 positions. They just kept that one on track, but unfortunately not for Chappelle. And I think that is going to bring our session to a close, and it does. So as our drivers get themselves prepared and line up on the grid, there's just a little bit of time to go for grid walk and take you through our starting order for tonight's race. On pole position, we have got yet again, winner of the last race was not pole position in the last race. But on pole position, we have got Joe Wilson in the 64 car. He'll be joined on the front row by Balazs Fehi. And will we expect another Balazs train in this race? I wonder if Balazs can get himself into the lead, the run down to turn 1, and we can have a full grid train. Maybe also including the BMWs if Balazs can really slow them up enough. In P3, we have got Johan Leff. Be joined on the second row of the grid by Matthew Parry. So those two, a little bit of work to do. Get themselves into contention with Joe Wilson at the start of this race. Take that fight for the championship onwards. In P5 is Jens Nielsen. They'll be joined by Kenny Crows. In P7, John Sawyer, joined by Florent Demour in the 974 car. Emmett Haas in P9, joined by Renes Nitro in P10, in the very difficult to miss livery there. Slavek Klinger in the 666 car is in P11 and will be starting alongside the first of the top drap cars of Jordi Navarro. In P13 is the BMW liveried Maya van Dijk, starting alongside Jarno Brishnik. Marek Chatil is in P15 alongside Tom Amella, who's running a identical livery to, I think that was Yannick Haas we saw. So thankfully they're separated by quite a bit on the grid, so shouldn't be any confusion there. Christian Goertz in P17 alongside the second of our top drap cars of Jordi Cano. In P19 is Dan Gunderson, alongside Martin Kuij. In P21 is Ewan Topley in the Mr. Blobby livery, with Mr. Blobby looking like they've had some real facial reconstruction surgery there with the holes in the front of that Porsche. Jakub Borovic in P22 with Chris Casey in P23. And then we come down to our BMW TCX class, and pole position of that class will be Oscar Yarem. And starting actually behind him on the grid on the next row, just due to the way that these starts work in ACC, will be Andre Thierry. In P26 is Marco Lorenzon. And we have a top drap car and another Jordi. I've only just noticed these are all Jordis. It's Jordi Navarro, Jordi Cano and Jordi Audette. Call me dense. And Atta Calasan in P29 in the Splatoon livery. In P30 is Anthony Victor Chappelle. P31, Michael Arminsky with Lennon Bromfield in P32. In P33 is David Patello with Gert Andre Hogstad in P34. Alex Perry in straight livery is in P35 with Magnus Mortensen in P36. Giovanni Michelini in P37 with Carlos Jimenez in P38. Alfie Lawson, P39. Max Davies so behind, and a lot of work to do to catch up to their P5 championship position. In P41 is Daniel Wilkins with Franciscan Severin in P42. Aaron Denker is in P43. Another of the Norwegian drivers running that livery there, made by I think it's Benjamin Odin Vedvik who makes that livery. Lars Povil, the only one of the top drap drivers not called Jordi, with Iben Villa. Okay, another one. God damn it, why do I always get corrected almost instantly? In P45, Benjamin Odin Vedvik in P46 with T Lightbot in 47. And finally, starting from the pit lane will be Martin Spasov as we return to the front of the field to get ready to get this race underway. And we time it just about perfectly for the green light, and we are underway, and it's a good start from Joe Wilson. Has got the inside line covered up as we head down into turn 1, and it is Johan Leff who's looking round the outside of Balazs Fahir as they go side by side through the corner, and it's Johan Leff up into P2 at the start of this race, and Balazs Fahir immediately back under pressure as it's Matthew Parry who is now looking up his inside through into turn 4. We'll try and sweep around the outside and off. I think that was potentially off the circuit there for Matthew Parry, but is ahead of Fahir, who loses 2 positions in the opening sector of this circuit. And Johan Leff now really putting the pressure almost instantly onto Joe Wilson. They wind their way through the first sector. Down in TCX land, Oscar Yaram leading the way ahead of Andre Thierry. And we've still got all of the Cups and the TCX cars separated there, so no big incidents, it doesn't look like, in Porsche Cup land. So happy days all round. As what's happened to Balazs Fahir is dropping like a stone through the standings. Now down into P6 behind Jens Nielsen. Balazs Fahir, I think, maybe suffering from a little bit of a commentator's curse there, as I suggested he might have been able to get himself into P1, and has dropped 4 positions since the start of this race. But Joe Wilson leading the way, but under real pressure here from Johan Leff. There's a little bit of a bump up the bum there from Johan Leff. Holds the fastest lap of the race and is looking to try and give Joe Wilson a little bit of the hurry along, it seems. He shouldn't really be bump drafting through the corners though. As Matthew Parry has caught back up onto the back of this battle. Behind Kenny Crows is taking the train conductor seat for once, and is leading Jens Nielsen, Balazs Fahir and John Sawyer at the merry way onto the long back straight. And Nielsen was looking up the inside of Crows there, maybe compromised their exit, but is well tucked in under that rear spoiler of Kenny Crows. And this is a high downforce circuit, let's remember, so the toe does work pretty well. And Nielsen looking up the inside of Kenny Crows. They come through the hairpin. Beautiful racing from the pair of them. Barely millimetres between them as Nielsen gets the switchback. Kenny Crows looking to the inside again, but Nielsen defending it well. This is all the while bringing Balazs Fahir along with them, who nearly gets a snap of oversteer into the pit wall. Manages to collect the car though and carries on. Often seen that one end in tears on those exit curves there in the final corner. Balazs Fahir looking to make up the positions lost at the beginning of the race as Kenny Crows gets a massive snap of oversteer, as does Balazs Fahir out on the exit curb. These drivers pushing these cars to the absolute limit as they filter their way through the end of the first sector into the second sector. And this, mind you, the battle, the P4, so you have P5 being led by Kenny Crows. Jens Nielsen actually disappearing off in front this way from this battle, as Fahir and Sawyer now go side by side. Still side by side through the corner they go. Laurent de Moor looking to get involved here as well, as is Slavek Klinger. And all the while, we're spending a lot of time looking at the Porsche Cups, but there is also action happening in the TCX land. I know our series sponsor, Chris Wright, doesn't much care for the TCX cars, but, well, you know, he doesn't pay me, so I'll go look where I want. As we're going 4 wide from the TCXs. This is phenomenal stuff. These cars are an absolute joy to race. as David Botello goes side by side. I think that's with Caliscan. And this is side drafts, proper drafts, everything. This is ridiculous racing here in the TCX class, nose to tail. Oh, as well. Oh no! Okay, this is going to be absolute carnage. Jesus. David Botello has got it parked the wrong way. As we can see off in the background, there's another spinner. That's the. It's not the 142 car. It's someone else. It's Severin. No, I have no idea who it is. But we've got two spinners on the same part of the track, and we shall ignore that one for a little while. And now we return to the front of the Cup field, and is Johan Left all over the back of Joe Wilson. We come down into the kink, and it looks like everyone getting the rear out of sorts, as it's looking like Johan Left and Matthew Parry are pushing Joe Wilson through this third sector of the racetrack. As Johan Left diving in to serve his mandatory pit stop for this race, obviously feeling that he's being held up by the two cars ahead of him, so the one car ahead of him, and looking to try and find some pace in some clean air. We'll see if he gets afforded it by the TCX class. As out in the front of the TCX class, a driver we haven't checked in with much is Oscar Yarem, currently running 1.5 seconds ahead of second place Thierry. And with Callum Scotland not present for tonight's race, we will see a change in our top three order regardless of the results of tonight's race. Down in P13, we have got a battle between Chatil, Van Dijk and Gertz. These drivers in the midfield often see some good racing down here, as drivers won't be up at the optimum pace and will be finding pace in different parts of the circuit, as that is a beautiful move around the outside. That is not one you're going to see often by Maya Van Dijk. Absolutely judged to perfection. See that one from a different angle. Well, not a great angle, it must be said, but around the outside, gets on the throttle earlier and just pins it out of the corner. What a move. As Matthew Parry now dives into the pit lane. It's going to be interesting to see where they come out in relation to Johan Left, who has found himself a little bit of clean air, has just got the two BMW class leaders ahead of him. And we'll see. We've got Johan Left just coming through the kinks now, with Matthew Parry still in the pit lane. It's going to just be the one lap for the undercut for Left, and he's caught the TCX traffic at just the wrong moment, sends an aggressive move up the inside. I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. It's going to come down to how they serve their pit stops. It's looking like for Johan Left was an optimal pit stop. So not often we say that for Johan Left. It has made a few mistakes in the pit lane before, but as Matthew Parry returns to the racing circuit, from this angle we should see Left coming through as he enters into turn one. It is a long and painful pit exit as he gets through the pit exit speed limit, and Johan Left emerges a front of Matthew Parry, and Matthew Parry with door-to-door contact with the TCX race leader. Let's see that again from another angle. Oh, not a great angle again. Okay, here we go. Emerging from the pit lane and just converging lines there. I think the two drivers not really aware of where each other were. And Matthew Parry now finds himself 2.7 seconds down on Johan Leff, who's holding the fastest lap of the race at 1:36.3. As now Joe Wilson dives into the pit lane, so this could be it. We could have a change in the net lead. I have an idea of how the rest of this race is going to unfold by the end of this lap. There's Martin Kuish fending from Jano Brishnek. Some more Porsche Cup field getting slightly spread out here. Behind we also have Marek Schutil ahead of Jordi Cano and Gertz. Looking to the inside, a little bit too far back to make anything of it, but was Cano close enough to see the move that was made by Van Dijk and going to look to replicate something similar? Nope, not quite close enough. As they emerge onto the back straight again. And as we check in with our race leaders, Joe Wilson did enough on the two in laps and has remained ahead of Johan Leff, but now they come side by side through the hairpin. Johan Leff sliding his way through the corner. And now the work has to be done on track if Johan Leff wants to take the race lead here at Misano. And this could be a battle that continues on. Johan Leff sitting in that slipstream, not able to do much. Joe Wilson driving well on this circuit, just staying mistake free, can keep another driver at bay, but we still have got just under 18 minutes remaining of this race, and Johan Leff is going to put an awful lot of pressure on the shoulders of Joe Wilson. As Matthew Parrott has taken the fastest lap of the race, a 1:36.272, only marginally faster than Johan Leff, which is impressive from Leff as he's been caught up behind like a significantly slower Joe Wilson. And this battle does not look like it is going to cool down anytime soon. There's more and more drivers now diving into the pit lane to serve their mandatory pit stop for tonight's race. And Joe Wilson still maintaining his composure. You can see that light bit of damage from the earlier tap that was given by Johan Leff. Nothing that should be affecting the performance of these Porsche Cup cars. They're not that aero dependent, not as much as a GT3 car. As a battle over what is currently P3 in the race, as Jordi Cano, Chatil and Gertz pick their way through some of this TCX traffic, and now Gertz caught up under that rear wing of Gertz, looking for a way through, but the way this straight kinks is you can't quite get your car alongside before the car ahead is looking for an apex. as we have side-by-side battling for the race lead. Johan Leff and Joe Wilson, with Leff putting marginally ahead now. But Johan Leff having to give the space. The inside, and looks like Johan Leff now up into P1 in this race. We'll take a look back and see how this unfolded. We come through into first sector of the racetrack. I think Joe Wilson knew his exit was compromised, goes to defend the inside line. This gives Johan Leff the run around the outside. Still side by side they remained. And it was the break-in into the kink committed by Johan Leff, and that's what got him a front. And then side by side they came down that long back straight, and Johan Leff now the net lead of this race. Shows us P7 for now, but the cars ahead still yet to pit. And that's going to be dispiriting for Joe Wilson, as he knows that Leff has had the pace behind him and has been sniffing all over the back of him, but is doing well to keep with him. As Leff has a big sideways moment, has to muscle his way past the back marker. Nearly got boxed in by Wilson. We saw that as an approach that Leff applied last race out, as we got a reciprocal bump up the rear there from Joe Wilson. These two really going at it. This is seems to be a two-horse race at the moment. Matthew Parry slowly catching up with the way these two are fighting. And more drivers diving into the pit lane. This will promote this battle up to a battle for P4. We've been spending a lot of time concentrating on our Porsche Cup field. Time to go give some love to the TCX cars, as Alfie Lawson down in P42 has got a little bit of a train forming behind him. We've got Denker, Michelini and Arminsky. Actually, and Perry. Ooh, in a civilized little train. Coming through into the third sector of the racetrack. As Arminsky takes the inside, gets himself up into P44. It's for the lower reaches of the points in the TCX class. Still, we do like to see some close wheel-to-wheel battling, regardless of where it is on track. As I did say we like to see battling as long as it is on track, and it's looking like that's one of the Porsche Cups completely ignoring that suggestion and deciding to partake in a little bit of rallycross. Joe Wilson, although was looking like was not having the pace when he had Johan Leff behind, now he is the car chasing and seems to have got plenty of pace, is keeping Johan Leff honest. As our field up and down is really starting to spread out quite a bit here at Misano, but fortunately not in the top two positions of the Porsche Cup, so we still have something exciting to talk about as Joe Wilson continues to harry the back of Johan Leff, and again another snap through the corner, and Matthew Parry all the time getting closer and closer. That gap exceptionally close now. Is a little bit of a mistake there, it looked like, from Joe Wilson. Wilson will get a slipstream from left to just recover from that slightly. not hand an ultimate advantage over to Parry. But the three of them look like they're going to be locked together until the end of this race. Matthew Parry still holding the fastest lap of this race. 1:36.272. The top two are getting close to that with pretty much most of their laps. Well, as to say that, Matthew Parry improving that best lap time with 1:36.202 now. So Parry turning up the heat, closing that gap down as they navigate their way through some more TCX traffic. And there's more up ahead with 10 minutes to go. That bulk of TCX traffic that's now making its way through the hairpin at the end of this straight could come back into contention. As we have just one Porsche Cup car hanging on in there, yet to pit, that of Jordi Navarro, currently leading this race, as Joe Wilson dicing with death with the TCX. They make their way onto the long back straight yet again. And actually, Florent de Moore up into P7 ahead of Balashve here and John Sawyer. And Balashve has got John Sawyer sniffing all over the back of him. As Balashve here showed such dominant pace in qualifying. I say dominant pace, was out qualified, but managed to get a P2 in qualifying. Is not showing that blinding pace in the race. Has dropped back 6 positions since the green flag. And is seemingly under significant pressure here from John Sawyer. As we come around to start P13 for these drivers. They come on to another lap. Joe Wilson is now tucked up right underneath. Johan Leff looking to the inside. Be a brave move to throw one up the inside here. They go side by side through the corner. Joe Wilson hanging on in there as we see a slight snap again for Johan Leff. Just losing out in the traction battle, but it's in the braking where we often see Johan Leff being so brave, but the TCX compromising his line, and this is a real opportunity now for Joe Wilson. Side by side down the long straight they come, and this is the traffic I was talking about, now getting heavily involved in this race as Joe Wilson looking to block Johan Leff in. These three now nose to tail as they meet onto the bulk of the TCX traffic. Johan Leff looking to take advantage of the traffic as well, boxing Joe Wilson in. Joe Wilson almost taking to the sand to get through here. This is real tense racing between the pair of them. And this is the absolute joy of multi-class racing. It's not just the skill of being fast. It's not just the skill of your wheel-to-wheel racing. It's eyeing up the risks, weighing up the opportunity. Do you make the dive? How do you use the other class of car to keep yourself ahead or to get yourself ahead? And Joe Wilson coming out of that battle on top. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. And now Matthew Parry is right in this battle as well. I'm absolutely amazed that there wasn't any more significant consequences from that battle as Johan Leff goes on the attack again, slightly wide there from Joe Wilson. And now Johan Leff looking to poke his nose up the inside. We saw it last lap around, and as these two are battling, I think Matthew Parry just sitting in there and hoping that carnage is going to present itself. These two battling hard but battling fair. I don't want to put a commentator's curse on it. There's still 5 minutes remaining, but from what we've seen from these two so far this race, absolutely phenomenal racing. And yet again we see TCX car getting in the way, and they sandwich it down the long straight. And, well, when there's no barriers involved, it's very hard to box another car in. Each playing fast and loose with track limits, and I think the Johan left allowing Joe Wilson that through because of the overtake outside of track limits. As we come round again onto another lap. And still with plenty of TCX traffic up ahead, everyone just hoping that the BMWs have the awareness not to turn into them, as these three battling so hard, as Matthew Parry going exceptionally wide. This is going to give a little bit of breathing room to Leff. Gives him a little bit of confidence. Doesn't have to be watching his mirrors. Can now just focus on the attack of Joe Wilson. As things look to spread out a little bit, Joe Wilson is holding on to this lead, has to weave to dodge around the back of one of the top down PCX cars, but he's now got himself a 1 second gap back to Johan Leff, and this race looking like it's a bit more into the control of Joe Wilson. Still not over yet. Just under 3.5 minutes remaining, but Joe Wilson looking in control at the moment. As we have battle in P8, as Maya van Dijk looking to pick off another opponent, as we have looking like some stricken cars, as John Sawyer goes exceptionally wide. Not quite sure what happened to John Sawyer there, but that is position gained for Slavak Klinger and Maya van Dijk. And round the outside, another bold move by Maya van Dijk, and slight contact there. Not sure, can put blame on anyone for that contact. But, well, a bold move around the outside, and John Sawyer, I think he might have his eyes closed at the moment. It's an interesting driving style I can see employed by John Sawyer, but that was a big old hit with the pit wall. And now Johan Leff, 0.7 seconds behind Joe Wilson as we enter into the final 2 minutes of that race. And yet again, the TCX cars come to ruin the day of Joe Wilson, as both drivers getting on their blinkers as they pick their way through the first sector. Is Matthew Parry still in contention here? If something does happen with our lead two, Matthew Parry will be there to pick up the pieces. As Johan Leff taking no prisoners around the corners, throwing everything he has around there and just estimating that the TCX should be clear of the corner by the time he gets there. And Johan Leff looking to get the perfect exit on what will be his final chance to attack Joe Wilson. This is the final lap of the race. as they make their way through the kink. I think that's Marco Lorenzo just keeping himself out of the way there. And Johan left, not able to use the full width of the track. And this is looking like it's gone down to the wire, but this has been a dominant display. So dominant. A impressive display, let's say, by Joe Wilson. It was battling back and forth between this lead pair, but in the end, Joe Wilson comes good to take the win here at Misano. Very closely behind by Johan Leff. There was nothing to separate them all race long, and always there to try and pick up the pieces, which unfortunately did not fall his way. Matthew Parry picking up a solid P3 is the second P3 for Matthew Parry. And well, we ended as we did in Suzuka, in the same top three. So Joe Wilson will extend his championship lead. As well, just as a demonstration of quite how slow our TCX class is. Oscar Yaram only just on the back straight now. And Oscar Yaram with a slightly different complexion to his race, to our cup leader, Joe Wilson. Yaram has a 10-second lead over Andre Thierry. As Yaram comes around the final corner of the racetrack, take what was a dominant victory here at Misano. Andre Thierry also rounding the final corner, some 10 seconds behind. Marco Lorenzo, as we saw, getting overtaken by Joe Wilson before he took the flag, finishes a lap down on this pair. As we have really a race of two halves in the cup field, an awesome battle for the lead. I feel in the TCX class we need to see some new challenges for Oscar Yaram. Perhaps, hint hint nudge nudge, the return of Andy Hudson. Just saying. As we need to see some competitive order return to that class. Again, congratulations to our top three in both classes. Johan Leff, Matthew Parry, sorry, Joe Wilson, Johan Leff and Matthew Parry, and Oscar Yaram, Andre Thierry, and Marco Lorenzo. Oh, thank you very much for watching, everyone. That was an exciting race, and I think I need to have a sit down and get my voice back. But you will not be missing out on any racing action. Do check out the pitskill.io Twitch channels and YouTube channel, where you can see the rest of our broadcast races. Especially do check out on Wednesday, when the GT Elite Series, our flagship series, will be heading to Misano for our final race of the week. And then return here next Monday, where the Porsche Cup and BMW M2 Multiclass will be heading to the Nürburgring GP circuit. What remains for me to say is thank you very much again for watching, everyone. I've been your host, Roy Weller. Please do like and subscribe to the channel to help get us seen, get more drivers into Pitskill.io. And if you don't already know, do head on over into the description, get yourself signed up over there, get yourself into some races. Always welcome new drivers on the grid. And until next time, I will leave you with the highlights from tonight's race. So have a very lovely rest of your day. Goodbye.
Chasing victory, pushing limits never end. From the pits to the finish line, in the zone and the grind. chasing glory, chasing time. Chicane, precision reigns, some wild speed and skill. In the ring for sunny plains, every lap the test of will. Under the lights, the tracks alive. Pit stops made in seconds, brief strategies we strive and thrive. Victories that pure belief. And rolling weather's voice resounds. Synchros lead the path today. From the bravest passion sounds, guiding us through every play. Racing dreams, as a super field of thrills in the band. Synchros chasing victory, pushing limits never end. From the pits to the finish line, in the zone, in the prime. Racing dreams, at Suzuka, chasing glory, chasing time. Playful as corn, a victory shout. Synchros lead the roar so loud. Adrenaline, the only sound. On this track, we make the crowd proud. Checkered flag, we see the end. Victors taste the sweetest blend. It's Suzuka, dreams transcend. Racing hearts, a message send. Growing roar, up to tunes. At Suzuka, feel the thrill to turn the bend. Synchros chasing victory, pushing limits never end. From the pits to the finish line, in the zone, in the prime. Racing dreams, at Suzuka, chasing glory, chasing time. Through the chicane night, engines hum. Racing tales forever strong. For lover's voice, all heroes come. Racing dreams, at Suzuka, never done. On the screen, the chicane precision reigns. Slipstream battle, speed and skill. In the rain, through sunny plains, every lanes, every lap, the test of will. Under the lights, the tracks alive. Pit stops made in seconds, brief. Strategies we strive and thrive, and thrive. Victory's the pure belief. Roy Weller's voice resounds. Secrets lead the pack today. From the booth, his passion sounds, guiding us through every play. Checker flag, we make the crowd proud. On the screen, the engine roars, Synchros in the driver's seat. Porsche Cup TCX galore, up Pitskill, the only new Suzuka's track, a twisty tail, corner sharp, straight always wide. In the cockpit, makes the fail, feel the rush, embrace the ride. Racing dreams, as Suzuka, feel the thrill to turn the bend. Synchros chasing victory, pushing limits never end. From the pits to the finish line, in the zone, in the prime.